'Tis the season to be jolly, and apparently the season to completely lose your mind. While most of us were busy unwrapping gifts and eating leftovers, a special group of people was busy fighting the laws of physics. In this video, we're counting down some of the most unbelievably reckless, shocking, and downright stupid ways people manage to turn festive cheer into a fatal mistake. No monsters, no decorations coming to life, just real humans, real electricity, real fire, and decisions that absolutely should not have been made. This is a reminder that Christmas magic is powerful, but stupidity is often stronger. Number 1. Every neighborhood has that one guy who wants to be Clark Griswold. You know the type. He needs his house to be visible from the International Space Station. He wants thousands of lights, and he wants them up yesterday. Our first contender for the holiday Darwin Award was exactly this type of suburban warrior. He was in a rush. He didn't have time for those little plastic clips that safely hold the lights to the roof. Those are for amateurs who care about safety. No, this genius grabbed a heavy-duty construction stapler. His plan was simple: speed. He climbed up his aluminum ladder, keep that metal ladder in mind, that's important later, and started rapid-firing staples over the light strands directly into the wooden trim of his house. Ka-thunk! 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 It was going great. He was making record time. But here is the thing about industrial staples. They are sharp metal. And here is the thing about Christmas light wires. They are covered in very thin, cheap plastic insulation. You can see where this is going. On one fateful ka-thunk, his aim was slightly off. The metal staple didn't go over the wire. It went straight through it, piercing the insulation and making direct contact with the live copper inside. Now, let's do a quick physics recap. Electricity is lazy. It always looks for the fastest path to the ground. In this moment, it found a perfect superhighway. The current traveled from the live wire into the metal staple, through the metal staple gun, into the man's hand, down his body, into the metal ladder he was standing on, and straight into the damp earth below. He didn't just get a little tingle. He completed a 120-volt circuit with his entire body. He lit up, but not in the festive way. He took a permanent fall and checked out right there on the front lawn. All because he couldn't spare 5 extra minutes to use plastic clips. Number 2. This next one is a classic case of I know what I'm doing, followed immediately by proving that they, in fact, did not know what they were doing. We've all been there. You pull the lights out of the attic, plug them in, and half the strand is dead. It's frustrating. Most reasonable people would spend $10 on a new box of lights. But not this guy. He was a handyman. He was going to fix it. He found a bad section of wiring that needed to be spliced. Now, any electrician will tell you the first rule of working on wires is unplug it first. It's literally step 1. But our hero was lazy. The outlet was 5 whole feet away behind the sofa. That's just too far to walk. He figured, hey, I'm just touching one tiny little wire. It'll be fine. He didn't have his tools handy, so he decided to use nature's wire strippers. His teeth. Yes. He put the live electrical cord into his mouth to chew off the plastic coating. I really shouldn't have to explain why this is a bad idea. Your mouth is basically a warm, wet sponge filled with saliva. Saliva is water with salt in it. That is an incredibly efficient conductor of electricity. As soon as his teeth broke through to the copper wire, the electricity didn't just stay in the wire. It threw a party in his mouth. The shock went straight through his head and chest, instantly scrambling his internal pacemaker, the natural one you're born with. His heart punched out for the day immediately. He saved $10 on new lights, but paid a much higher price for supreme laziness. Number 3. We're hearing rumors about this next one coming out of Europe, specifically Czechia, and it is a testament to the idea that bigger is not always better. Apparently, a regular 6-foot Douglas fir wasn't enough for this gentleman. He looked out his window and saw one of those massive, metal, high-voltage electrical pylons. You know, the huge towers that carry power across the whole country. Most people look at those and think, danger, stay away. This guy looked at it and thought, that's just a giant metal Christmas tree waiting to be decorated. According to the story, he decided he was going to climb this piece of critical national infrastructure and hang a star on the very top. He gathered his decorations and started his ascent. Now, here's the thing about high voltage lines that most people don't get. You don't even have to touch the wires to have a very bad day. The voltage is so incredibly high that the electricity can actually jump through the air if you just get too close. It's called arcing. He didn't even make it to the top. He got close enough to one of the main lines, and a massive bolt of electricity leaped out to greet him. He didn't just hang a decoration. For a brief, blinding second, he became the brightest decoration in the entire county. Gravity finished the job that the 400,000 volts started. It's a tragic reminder that some trees are definitely forbidden. Number 4. This next story happens tragically often in the US during winter storms. It's sad, but it also fits squarely into the category of ignoring basic survival instincts for comfort. It was Christmas Eve and a massive winter storm knocked out the power. No lights, no heat, and tragically, no TV. This family was desperate. They wanted their cozy Christmas morning vibes back. They had a gasoline generator out in the garage. For emergencies like this, every single generator sold in this country has big, bright warning stickers all over it that say, "Never use indoors, exhaust kills." It's not a suggestion, it's a rule of biology. But it was cold outside, and running an extension cord through a window seemed like too much work. So, in a stroke of anti-genius, they dragged the running gasoline generator inside the living room. They plugged in the Christmas tree and the television. They sat down on the couch, got cozy under some blankets, and put on the movie Home Alone. While they were watching little Kevin McAllister outsmart burglars with paint cans, they were being outsmarted by carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide is sneaky. You can't smell it, see it, or taste it. It just quietly replaces the oxygen in the room. The family didn't choke or cough. They just started feeling very sleepy. They drifted off into a nap on the couch while the generator kept chugging away in the corner, filling the room with poison gas. Number 5. And now, we have someone who tried way too hard for the aesthetic. We all want that perfect, romantic holiday Instagram photo. This young lady decided to treat herself to the ultimate, relaxing Christmas Eve. She drew a bubble bath, poured a glass of wine, and dimmed the lights. But regular candles just weren't festive enough. She needed more pizzazz. She had one of those small, pre-lit tabletop Christmas trees. You know, the ones that plug into the wall. She thought it would look absolutely magical, perched precariously on the slippery porcelain edge of the bathtub, right next to her head. She got in the tub, started relaxing, and probably reached for her wine glass. She bumped the tree. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but water and electricity are like old Western gunslingers. They do not get along when they meet in the same town. The plugged-in tree slid off the edge and splashed directly into the bathwater she was soaking in. The household circuit breaker probably tried its best to trip, but physics was faster. The entire tub became electrified instantly. Instead of a relaxing soak, she got the shock of a lifetime, which unfortunately happened to be the end of her lifetime. It was a toaster in the bathtub scenario, but with festive pine needles attached. Number 6. We have all been to that one holiday party where things get a little too rowdy. The food is gone, the drinks are flowing, and the good ideas have left the building. Meet our next contender, Party Boy Pete. Pete was the kind of guy who loved being the center of attention. If there was a spotlight, he was standing in it. If there was a silence, he was shouting. And if there were fireworks, he was holding them. It was late at night, and Pete found a massive, professional-grade firecracker in his stash. We aren't talking about those little snappers kids throw on the sidewalk. We are talking about a quarter stick of dynamite designed to shake the ground. Pete decided to perform a comedy routine for his friends sitting around the patio table. The joke? He was going to pretend this massive explosive was a fancy Cuban cigar. He put the firecracker in his mouth, clenching it between his teeth like a 1920s gangster. He leaned in toward his buddy and mumbled, "Hey, got a light?" The friend, who was also not a candidate for a Nobel Prize, pulled out a lighter and lit the fuse. Now, Pete's plan, in his alcohol-fogged brain, was to let the fuse burn down a little bit for dramatic effect, take it out of his mouth, and throw it before it went boom. He thought he had a long fuse. Here is a fun fact about pyrotechnics. Fuses are inconsistent. They burn fast. And sometimes they burn inside the casing faster than you can see on the outside. Pete didn't even get the chance to take it out. The fuse burned down in a split second. The cigar detonated while it was still firmly clamped in his jaw. I won't get too graphic here, but let's just say Pete's comedy career ended with a bang. The explosion did exactly what high-pressure gas does in a confined space. His head didn't stand a chance. It was a mind-blowing trick, literally. Number 7. The holidays make people feel connected to nature. We watch movies where reindeer fly, bears are cuddly, and snowmen talk. This leads some city slickers to believe that wild animals are just paid actors in fuzzy suits. Enter Tourist Tim, who was visiting a national park over the holidays. Tim spotted a massive bull moose, or maybe it was a large elk. The police report was a bit messy, standing near the tree line. Now, a bull moose is 1,000 pounds of muscle and bad attitude. They are tanks with legs. But Tim didn't see a tank. He saw a photo opportunity. He saw likes on Instagram. Tim grabbed a cheap Santa hat from his car and his smartphone. He walked right up to the wild animal. He didn't use the zoom lens. He walked up to it. His goal? To put the Santa hat on the animal's antlers and take a selfie. The animal was confused at first. It stood still, which Tim mistook for permission. But as Tim reached up to place the hat on the antlers, the animal decided it had enough of this disrespect. In nature, showing your teeth, smiling, and reaching for the head is an act of aggression. The moose lowered its head and engaged combat mode. It didn't bite him. It used those massive, multi-pointed antlers like a forklift. It scooped Tim up and drove him into a pine tree with the force of a small sedan. Tim got his close-up, but he never got to hit post. Nature is not a petting zoo. If an animal has knives growing out of its head, stay in the car. Number 8. Clearing snow off the roof is a necessary evil in snowy climates. It's dangerous work. You can slip, you can fall. Smart people use a safety harness anchored to the chimney. Jerry, however, was an innovator. He didn't have a harness. He looked around his yard for something heavy to anchor himself to. He saw the family SUV parked in the driveway below. Jerry's logic was, that car weighs 2 tons. If I tie a rope around my waist and tie the other end to the bumper, I can't fall off the roof. Technically, he was right. He couldn't fall off the roof. But he forgot one variable: other people. Jerry tied the rope to his waist, threw it over the house, and tied it to the back bumper of the SUV. He started shoveling snow on the back side of the roof, completely out of sight from the driveway. 10 minutes later, his wife came out of the house. She needed to go to the store for last-minute gift wrapping. She got into the SUV. She turned on the radio, maybe singing along to Jingle Bell Rock. She didn't see the rope. She didn't know Jerry was tethered to the bumper like a human trailer. She put the car in reverse and hit the gas. Up on the roof, Jerry didn't just slip. He was yanked. The car pulled him up the slope of the roof, over the peak, and launched him into the air like a rag doll. He flew off the roof, but because the rope was still attached, he swung down and slammed into the ground behind the moving vehicle. The wife drove 3 blocks before she noticed people honking and pointing at the cargo she was dragging. Jerry didn't survive the wildest ride of his life. Communication is key in marriage. Also, never tie yourself to something that has wheels and an engine. Number 9. Christmas is a time for giving, but for criminals, it's a time for taking. Stores are full of cash, and Burglar Bob wanted a piece of the action. Bob scouted a local shopping mall after hours. He wanted to break in, but the doors were alarmed and the windows were barred. He climbed onto the roof to find another way in. He saw a large, square metal chute sticking out of the roof. To Bob, it looked just like a chimney. He thought, I'll pull a Santa Claus. I'll slide down the chimney, grab the loot, and walk out the back door. He removed the grate and jumped in feet first. Here is the problem. Shopping malls don't have chimneys. They have industrial HVAC systems. That wasn't a chimney. It was the exhaust shaft for a massive industrial fan system that cycles air for the food court. Bob slid down the smooth metal shaft. It was a tight squeeze. He got about halfway down and realized the shaft narrowed. He got stuck. He couldn't go up. He couldn't go down. He was wedged tight. If he had just been stuck, he might have been found by security in the morning. But Bob had terrible timing. The mall's heating systems was on an automatic timer. At 6 a.m., the system kicked on to warm up the building for the morning shift. The massive turbine fan below him roared to life. The suction pulled him down harder, while the blades, well, let's just say the fan and Bob had a very messy disagreement. If you're going to break the law, at least look at the blueprints. And maybe don't jump into industrial machinery. Number 10. Now, we have a story about a gift that was way too cool for the person receiving it. Kevin was a guy in his 20s. For Christmas, his brother bought him a high-powered hunting crossbow. This wasn't a toy with suction cups. This was a weapon designed to take down a bear. It was late Christmas afternoon. The family had been drinking beer and wine since noon. Coordination was low. Confidence was high. Kevin was admiring his new weapon and said those famous last words, "Hey, let's do the William Tell trick." For those who don't know history, William Tell was a legendary archer who shot an apple off his son's head. Kevin convinced his best friend to stand by the Christmas tree with a red, delicious apple balanced on his head. The friend was nervous, but Kevin assured him, "Bro, I'm a sniper. Watch this." Kevin loaded the bolt. That's what you call a crossbow arrow. He raised the weapon. He closed one eye to aim. But between the alcohol and the fact that he had never fired a crossbow in his life, his aim was drifting. He pulled the trigger. The bolt flew at 350 feet per second. He missed the apple. He missed it by about 4 inches. Unfortunately, he missed it low. The bolt struck the friend directly in the eye socket. It didn't just poke him, it went through to the other side of the room, taking a lot of important biology with it. The friend dropped instantly. The party went from merry to murder investigation. In less than a second, Kevin didn't prove he was a legendary archer. He proved he was a legendary idiot with a deadly weapon. Alcohol and weapons don't mix. And if someone asks you to put an apple on your head, the answer is always no. Number 11. We all love holiday traditions. Some are cute, like hanging stockings. Others are questionable, like that weird aunt who kisses everyone on the lips. But this next tradition is just a safety hazard masquerading as culture. In the UK and parts of the Commonwealth, there is a tradition of baking a silver coin into the Christmas pudding. The idea is that whoever finds the coin in their slice gets a year of good luck. Well, our friend Gluttonous Gary found the coin, but his luck ran out immediately. Gary loved food. He didn't just eat, he demolished. Christmas dinner was his Super Bowl, and dessert was the fourth quarter. When the pudding came out, Gary didn't waste time using a spoon or chewing like a civilized human being. He was shoveling cake into his mouth like he was feeding a wood chipper. He took a massive bite. Somewhere in that dense, sticky cake was the lucky silver coin. Because Gary inhaled rather than swallowed, the coin bypassed his stomach entirely. It decided to take a detour down his windpipe. Now, usually, if you choke, you can cough it up. But a coin is the perfect shape to act like a valve. It lodged perfectly flat in his airway, creating an airtight seal. The irony here is thick. The coin was supposed to bring him prosperity and happiness. Instead, it brought him total silence and a shade of blue that really didn't match the holiday decor. While everyone else was laughing and cheering, thinking he was just turning red from excitement, Gary was frantically trying to cash in his chips. By the time they realized he wasn't joking, the lucky coin had done its job. Chewing is not optional. And maybe let's stop putting metal objects inside our food, okay? Number 12. Gifts are hard to buy. You want to get something practical, something valuable. Secure Steve decided to buy his wife massive, top-of-the-line, fireproof, thief-proof safe for her jewelry. But Steve was a prankster. He didn't just want to wrap it, he wanted to be the gift. His plan? He would put the safe in the bedroom, leave the door open, hide inside it, and when his wife walked in, he would jump out and yell, "Surprise!" It sounds funny in a sitcom. In real life, it's a death trap. Steve climbed into the safe. It was a tight squeeze, but he made it. He pulled the heavy steel door shut to hide. Click. Here's what Steve forgot. This is a high-security safe. It is designed to keep burglars out, which means it locks automatically when the handle turns. And the keypad? It's on the outside. Steve was now locked inside a steel box with walls 3 inches thick. He knew the code, which is great, but unless he had telekinesis, he couldn't type it in. He started screaming. He started banging. But remember, this safe is also fireproof and soundproof. It is designed so that if the house burns down or collapses, the contents remain safe. It turns out it's also really good at keeping screams in. His wife came home, saw the new safe, and thought, oh, nice gift, but it's locked. I guess I'll ask Steve for the code when he gets home. She went downstairs to watch TV. Steve had a very limited supply of oxygen in that small box. It wasn't the panic that got him. It was the simple math of air volume versus lung capacity. He literally suffocated inside his own present. When they finally opened it days later, the surprise was, well, let's just say it wasn't the one he intended. Never climb into anything that locks from the outside. That goes for trunks, freezers, and definitely safes. Number 13. Finally, we have a story from the archives of internet legends, often cited on Reddit. It's a classic tale of mistaking military equipment for a toy. It was a wild New Year's Eve party in a basement apartment. The music was loud, the lights were low, and the decision-making skills were non-existent. Our protagonist, Chad, found an old orange pistol in his grandpa's antique box. To Chad, it looked like a toy. He thought it was one of those party poppers that shoots confetti and streamers. He wanted to start the countdown with a bang. He shouted, "Happy New Year!" and pulled the trigger, aiming directly at the concrete ceiling. It was not a party popper. It was a marine distress flare gun. These things are designed to be seen by ships miles away at sea. They burn at about 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit. They are basically balls of burning magnesium and chemical fury. The flare shot out, hit the concrete ceiling, and did not stop. It ricocheted. It turned the basement into a pinball machine of fire. It bounced off the wall, hit the sofa, bounced off the floor, and set the carpet on fire instantly. The room was filled with blinding red light and choking chemical smoke. This wasn't a grab the fire extinguisher situation. This was a run for your life situation. The panic caused a stampede at the only exit. The apartment was gutted by fire. Chad survived the initial shot, but he couldn't survive the stupidity of launching a miniature sun inside a confined space. The party was definitely lit, but the cost was the entire building. If you find a gun, assume it is dangerous. If it shoots fire, take it outside. And there you have it, folks. 13 tragic reasons why the holidays are statistically the most dangerous time of the year for people with zero survival instincts. From turning a bathtub into an electric chair to fighting a moose for a selfie, we've seen it all. If there is one lesson to take away from this carnage, it's this. The laws of physics do not take a holiday break. Electricity still kills you in December. Gravity still works on icy roofs. And wild animals definitely do not want to wear your hat. The best gift you can give your family this year isn't a fancy safe or a crossbow. It's simply staying alive. So please, keep the generators outside, keep the fireworks out of your mouth, and chew your pudding carefully. If you manage to survive this video without stapling yourself to the ceiling, do me a favor and smash that like button. It helps the algorithm save more lives. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you don't miss our next episode. Trust me, You don't want to miss what we have planned for New Year's. And hey, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment down below. What is the sketchiest, most dangerous tradition your family has? Does your uncle play with fire? Do you eat metal coins? Let me know. I'm reminding you that common sense is free, so use it. Stay safe, stay smart, and I'll see you in the next one.